marine ecology of the Peruvian coast is determined by cold, oxygen-rich water and by strong coastal upwelling. Our water is a floating soup of particles, characterized by its green color and an average underwater visibility of 7 to 8 meters. One of the most notorious fish species that you will spot first when beginning to dive over rocky ground is the giant blenny. As its name says, this territorial fish is the worldwide biggest member of the blenny family. A very similar looking, but even bigger fish is the Chalapo clinid, a weed blenny. Other very common ground fishes are several species of flatfishes and stingrays. The Pacific spotted scorpionfish sits motionless on a rock. When looking into rock holes and cracks, you can find the dark blue to purplish colored Pacific chromis trying to hide away. Here another member of the scorpionfish family, the chamaco rockfish, rests on top of a stone. One of the most common fishes to observe is the Peruvian moorworm, which often forms big schools. At night, they tend to rest close to the rock walls, like these moorworms, who keep turning against the swell. From time to time, you can see a bullseye puffer strolling around. A main attraction that is always present in Pucusana, but hard to spot, is the rough-jaw frogfish. Some of the other species to be observed are the chameleon wrasse, the Popeye catalufa, the Pacific toadfish, the big-head tilefish, the three-banded butterfly fish, the red goatfish, the Pacific cornet fish, and sometimes even the Pacific seahorse. In greater depth, we can often find black cusk eels waiting for hunting time at night. This juvenile cusk eel does better in looking for a hole to hide in. One of the main attractions of every dive, however, is to spot one of the huge red morays, being very common in Pucusana. Our moray spotting record for a single dive lies at 13 fishes. Red morays are always accompanied by an army of small painted shrimps. But even if there's no moray around, painted shrimps are just everywhere. Another beautiful attraction of Pucusana dives is the magnificent porcelain crab, Petrolistes desmarestii. It is not only one of the most beautiful crabs to be observed in Pucusana, it is also the world's biggest porcelain crab that can reach the size of a man's hand. Our dive guides are biologists, and they are trained to find and show you a great variety of species, including many of the much smaller relatives of the magnificent porcelain crab, like this anemone crab, Alopetrolistes spinifrons. It lives on sea anemones, and its coloration is perfectly adapted to mimic the stinging surface of its host species. The small porcelain crab, Megalobrachium peruvianum, looks for safety under stones. When turning a few stones, our guides often find small attractions, like this snapping shrimp, or the brittle star Ophiactis kröyeri, as well as this beautiful small sea star species. A hairy crab, Cansa setosos, has dug in and hid in the sand. It is very common to observe the bigger crab species when reproducing. Oh, sorry for bothering. These two moon crabs, Cancer plebeus, are fighting over rock. And soon the loser gives in. This Chilean sand crab, Hippatus chilensis, got it all wrong. Instead of sitting on a rock, it should be buried in the sand. During night dives, you can many times spot one of the most dangerous hunters at work. The claws of this mantis shrimp are capable to perform one of the fastest movements in the animal kingdom in order to catch its prey. When finding one, you should not try to touch it. Another dangerous hunter, the octopus. But this baby octopus is still well advised to be careful when swimming around. Starfishes are hunters too, even though they are slower ones. This sun starfish, Heliasta helianthus, is an attraction anyway. The huge starfish, Luidia belonide, also finds its diving admirers. In Pucusana you can also find quite a number of different sea urchin species, like for example Arbacia spatuligera, a sea urchin to be found during deeper dives, or Cyclocentrotus gibosus, an urchin of shallow waters. Another species that you won't find anywhere else is the giant barnacle. It can grow to up to 15 centimeters of size, and at this size it is easy and fascinating to observe how a barnacle feeds. How would Poseidon's garden look like without the flower-like sea anemones? The small white Anthotoa chilensis covers Pucusana's rock walls like a flower carpet. Other species, like this Isolactis, hide away under sand grains and shell particles glued to their tentacles. But once you have discovered her, she shows her real and extravagant beauty. Others, like Fumantes pluvia, just like to stand out and shine. The dark green waters of the Humboldt Current. If you didn't dive them, you will never understand. But once you uncovered their secret beauty, you will want to return.